Welcome to this panel discussion, everybody, which is part of 𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐞𝐥𝐿's International's activities for European Mental Health Week 2026. My name is Carmen, and I work on advocacy and strategic relations at 𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐞𝐥𝐿 International. And I have the honor of moderating today's conversation with our guests. So this week, Europe comes together under the theme of Stronger Together. And that is exactly the spirit of the topics we want to explore today, which is the connection between arts and humor and mental health care, and how together we can genuinely support young people who are struggling with their mental health. So today with us are Dominique du Marné, founder of Mental Health Crowd and also board member of Mental Health Europe, as well as Anna Olejnik, a certified 𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐞𝐿 clown artist with 𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐿 Poland, and she's also a psychologist working with young people in pediatric psychiatry settings. So welcome to you both. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I have prepared some questions for you, which I'm really curious about, but also please feel free to jump in any time whenever something the other says resonates with you or you want to build on it, please feel free. In the past years, I think we all have heard a lot in public media about the fact that young people are increasingly struggling with their mental health, and also the role that social media, the pandemic, global uncertainty play in this. So Dominique, I wanted to ask you, since you work on this on a daily basis, what is something that you can't repeat too often? Like something that you think people might not know, but should know, or something that might be surprising?
I guess I have to start very basic. So first of all, thanks for the invitation. Very honored to be here. It's the message that mental health is more than mental illness. So many people still think that they only should take care of their mental health or do something for their mind if they are struggling, if there is a crisis, if there is a diagnosis, and that is wrong, wrong, wrong. Where there's a human being, there's a mental health. Everybody has one. If you have a body, then you have a head and a mind, so you have a mental health. And most people don't really realize that they don't know what to do with their mental health. So this is something really that affects in a negative way all of us, and we can all think more about mental health in everyday context and do some mental health care as we do brushing our teeth. We do it twice a day without even really thinking about it. And taking care of your mental health doesn't have to be therapy or flying to Bali for a yoga retreat for a couple of weeks or whatever. It can be little things you do throughout the day that can make a difference, and you don't have to wait until your mental health is bad. So this is one of the messages I still find, of course, for me, it's very clear, but I still find hasn't reached everybody. So that's my message.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I love this perspective. It's really about the attention we should also pay to prevention, right? And promotion of our health. Yeah. And I also love that you're saying this, because we have invited you coming from different perspectives. So I think I think it will be very rich discussion, because Anna, you on the other hand work as a healthcare clown artist, but also as a psychologist with young people, really in pediatric psychiatry settings, which is one of the most acute and sensitive environments, I think, imaginable. So I wanted to ask you, when you go into a ward and you encounter people that have experienced mental illness in that way, what do you notice there as a psychologist?
Okay, first of all, if I may make a little step aside, it's so good to hear what you say, Dominique, about the prevention. And I was just telling today one patient that prevention is crucial, yet it's not sexy. Nobody wants to concentrate on prevention. It's sexy when you have big problems, big solutions. Everybody likes that, and it drags attention. But when you have to really regulate yourself, like pay attention to how you behave, what you make to your body, how you regulate your emotions, or sleep, for example, that's not so sexy, right? So this is great, and really working with adolescents. When you enter adolescent psychiatric world, what is really, really painful is the surroundings. The surroundings are totally artificial. Most of all, the wards that I know in Poland, they're like really very closed, very clean, or it's better standard or worse standard, but you don't have much, green stuff. You don't have nice things around. It's very medical. So, and you enter and you see young people, some of them isolated, very much down with anxiety, depression, or suicidal crisis, and the other ones with hyperactivity, running, needing something. And then you have the strict rules that you have to have. So it's very difficult. What we really experience, what I saw entering the words with the clowns, with empowered teens, was like they have a plan that is really from morning till evening. They have 8 o'clock till like 1 o'clock. You have the psychotherapeutic activities. Then you have lunch. Then you have school till like 6 in the evening. So it's really like all of what young people suffer in their lives, like expectations, a lot of pressure, and no privacy. Then it's really there in the words too. So that is not easy.
Yeah. And this is kind of a set that unfortunately then a setting that is kind of when prevention has not worked, right? And then you encounter these psychiatry settings. But
I want to add, because I come from lived experience, so I have 15 years of mental illness behind me, and 10 of those I didn't know what was going on. When I had my diagnosis, I also went to a psychiatry for 3 months, and I had very positive experiences. Yes, it was a hospital, and the setting was kind of hospitalish, but the people there, they really tried to make it a good place. It was a grown-up station, so not adolescent station, so that might be a different word, and it was in Germany, so I know that also makes a difference. But for me, it was also very, very good to have this space where some rules were set. I didn't even have to think about I didn't have to think about stuff I had to think about at home. So I felt a relief about some of that structure. But of course, there's always an upside and a downside. At the beginning, there were so many rules, and I was really, why are this and that rules? After I was there for a couple of weeks, I knew why they were there, so that's okay as well. So I'm not saying that the setting is best and all of that, but for me it was a very important experience, because I could just focus on my recovery. I don't have to worry about any other stuff. So for me it was good, but I also saw in other patients the dangers the situation could have. So really being in that kind of bubble, not having your surroundings. So I completely know that. But I still want to add the perspectives for me as a patient in this clinic. I know it was very good. We had a huge garden and everything was very nice. So I think it's really the broadness, the variety. You can be in a very good place with good people and a good team, or you can be in a place that can cause even more suffering and more pressure. So we have to be very aware that it's not the setting itself. It can work. It's not the ideal setting, but we really have to design it in a more human way. So I really like that you said in the beginning it was so artificial. And that is one of the problems that we have, that our world today is too artificial and that we lost touch to so many things that are crucial to our health. So yeah, just as a little add-on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
and
guess
I'm
it
not.
also
Yeah.
speaks to the fact that, you have to see the individual always, but it becomes difficult when you have all these harsh structures, clinical processes that maybe leave too little room for that, because we are all different in what we need, right?
Yeah, and also I'm not saying the setup is everything, and I met the staff which are really great many times, and they want to help.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, it's paradoxically said. For example, adolescents want to return to the worlds. They want to be in there in these artificial settings.
Yeah.
And so it means there are staff there that really try to be in contact and to understand and to help them, which is what they lack outside somehow. Yeah.
And if I may ask, because I think it's super interesting, Anna, that you work as a healthcare clown and as a psychologist, and you have these two perspectives. So I would be really curious to know, what do you see when you enter these pediatric psychiatry wards as a clown? What does the clown see?
Well, my clown sees possibilities and the place for play and interaction, and a lot that you can do without having anything, just to meet in a joyful way and playful way. So yeah, I prefer to enter with my clown eyes. It's much more fruitful in this surroundings.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say, I work as a psychologist and psychotherapist in a private practice in the psychiatric wards. I'm there partly as psychologist because I'm the psychological expert of the clown programs here, but I'm not working in a ward as a psychotherapist, so maybe my approach can be a little bit different.
Yeah. But I hear that it helps you to see then there's still the positive things, right? The possibilities that there are. I like this, yeah. I mean, I think already we have heard a lot about how, first of all, mental health is bigger than what we often think about. It's about prevention as well, and also about the experience that each individual has, right? That we have to really, that this matters a lot, like how much attention we pay to this. So staying with this a little bit, I also wanted to bring up one more topic that I think sits at the heart of the personal experience that people struggling with mental health can have, which is stigma. And I was wondering, Dominique, you have spent over a decade changing how society talks about mental health, with a refusal somehow to make it too clinical or defeating, and adding humor into it. So from your perspective, what reactions do young people with mental distress typically encounter, and how does it affect how they see themselves?
Well, usually it's very much invalidated. That's just a phase. That's just puberty. That's just right now. And you just have to pull yourself together. And so all of these phrases, they are still around. And I mean, what is kind of frustrating, that I've been going into schools for more than a decade now, and still for so many like 16-year-olds, I'm the first person that really talks to them about mental health, about how they're feeling, what the COVID pandemic, the situation of the world, all of that, what it does to them. So they consume a lot on TikTok, and that's not the best place. And they have parents or grandparents that invalidate, that compare, and it's talked down, and it's really just, oh, you're young, you have all the perspectives. No, you don't have perspectives. There's war, there's climate, there's so many insecurities, and we can recognize that. And I also have the feeling that they feel totally left behind by politics, for example. They have done so much during COVID, and now they just should be back to writing good notes at school, and like really shut up and be productive members of the society. But I also see the change that is happening, that they are more aware of mental health, that they are more willing to go to therapy, that they inform themselves about their topic. But it's very hard if you have an outside world, teachers, parents, a society that always tells you, shut up and function, do yoga, whatever, and that can be part of the solution, but only a very small part. So that is very frustrating.
Yeah. I guess there has been some positive development, right? Because it's been more talked about.
Yep.
But there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
I guess, and talking about it, not treating it as a taboo topic. So you said already a bit about what can work to alleviate, to dismantle stigma, but maybe do you have also a few more like concepts or initiatives that you know, like perhaps from your own work, that help with this, that others can learn from?
So what I think is crucial to understand, that if people do stigmatizing stuff or say stigmatizing words, it's usually not out of a place of people are bad and they want to harm others. It's out of a place they are insecure, they are helpless, they don't really know what to do. If you say, I've got a broken leg, I know which program to run. If you tell me you got schizophrenia, I'm, what is it? I've heard something, then I'm pushing it away, not because I don't like it, but because I myself feel so insecure. And there is so many half-truths out there, and people run around with their TikTok numbers and stuff. So what I experience, if you take them seriously, if you don't like shut them up if they said something stigmatizing, but try to understand where they're coming from and really telling them, giving them more information, then that usually switches quite quickly. So I think this is a brilliant news, because it means we can combat stigma just by talking to people, by giving them information, by giving them security. What can you do? What should you not do? What can you say? What shouldn't you say? And it's not about giving hard rules, but giving them some form of, okay, I know how to handle this situation. And this is what we see over and over again. If you talk to pupils too much about mental illness, this can go in the wrong direction. But if you just sit them in a room with a person who has experienced some form of mental illness, you create a conversation, they can ask questions, and they don't have to ask ChatGPT or whatever. That really makes a difference, a long-lasting difference. And I think this is only why it's so important to see their parents, their grandparents. They come from another time. And it's 50 years ago, I wouldn't have said, hey, I have mental illness experience. It could have been the end of my life. So it's not that long ago that we lived in a very different world that handled mental health in a very different way. And for society, it takes a while to really do that and create that change. So it's not fair to say this generation has it harder or this. We just have different struggles. We have to cope somehow. And I think coming from a place of understanding and giving people more security, bringing them into contact, seeing them with their insecurities, it has been worked for so many times in so many projects. And this is what we all can do in our everyday life. We don't have to tell our childhood trauma to everybody on the street, but being a bit more open about our own struggles, that if we have a bad day, being more open about it. This way we can send signals to our environment.
Yeah, and I hear that it's not only for the benefit of people experiencing mental health struggles, but also for the people not experiencing them. that it's important that we talk about this. So you create this environment of common understanding and common ground where you can connect again, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, and Anna, as you have mentioned already, like you have worked on projects like Empower Teen, which worked with this group of people, and also now part of ClowNexus, which is a recently launched European cooperation project that is co-funded by the European Union, and where you will also work on creating new creative and humorous approaches for and with young people in psychiatric wards. And what I was wondering here is also like, when you encounter these people that have experienced stigma as well from dealing with their mental health issues, how do you perceive that this affects their openness to engage with others, like and to create connections?
Yeah, I think the answer is quite obvious, meaning if you experience stigma and rejection and devaluation, then you don't want to open, and you have more fear and you're anxious to really show who you are. And I think this is really difficult because this is something that is already there in this teenage, for example. They really struggle to accept and to identify their own identity and who they are. And yeah, that's a very interesting also thing about the stigma and the discrimination. And this, we all have it in embodied, we have it in ourselves, and that's where it really makes a bad job. Meaning, I speak with young people that say, I hate myself because I don't fit, because I think other people are laughing at me, because I cannot be like others. And I ask, okay, and if you found people who were like you, would you then think it's a problem? No, I think then it would be very good to be like I am.
Yeah.
So, so this voice, this critical voice, this inner standards, these expectations that we have to fit in inside ourselves, I think it's also many times the source of the stigma and discrimination that is given to other people, meaning parents who are telling their kids, oh, please don't cry, nothing happens, just you have to struggle and go on because I did it when I was young and you will do it too. They do it because they don't know how to support their children, because they are afraid of this strange word of mental health. I mean, emotions, it is something that is really, really making people anxious, feel emotions.
Yeah. No, that is true. I mean, saying this, I'm really curious also about, because you were mentioning like teenagers as such have like, are trying to find their identity, are maybe not the most open persons always with others or other age groups as well. And I'm also thinking like really, I'm curious, like how do they react when they encounter a clown, like the unlikely figure of the clown in the psychiatry ward, and what do they open to, like,
Okay, so when we entered the Polish hospitals, we don't enter them in clown costumes, because already saying the clown word in the hospital, it's like killing everybody. They just go under the table. No, the children will hate it. It's for little children or something. They will not like it. So we made a long, long way, and we changed as normally we work having the pilot inside and the clown outside. In the psychiatric ward, we enter like almost normal. We just have a little something funny, but we're not in with nose or costume, but we have the clown inside, the inner clown. And the reaction is like, for example, there were questions like, did you take something? Are you on something? Like, what, this was the first reaction. And it was so great also, I felt like, to be able to tell them, no, we just do this because it's fun, we like it. And yeah, so there is this, but what was surprising, they really, really reacted in a very positive way, actually. Of course, we didn't force anybody to nothing. We did it in a totally free will. We tried to create a common playground, a space to play with imagination, with creative tools. But just to be able to be creative and free, so we let them. So if somebody wanted to read a book during our meeting, he was welcome to read a book and then to join when he wanted. On the other hand, there were sometimes it was surprising, the will to participate and to belong was so astonishing. For example, we had one time we made a circle and we created a story by saying everybody one word. And there was like one girl who was depressive, and we knew also anorectic, and she had no power. She was just lying down in the circle. And I thought she will not be wanting to participate, but we asked her every time it came to her. We asked her, do you want to add a word? And then she made a real effort to sit down a little bit and say something and be part of it. So that was really, really big. And one kid at the end, he said, when we asked them, well, how was it? What did you take? He said, it was so nice to experience, to try new things in a safe place. And it was a boy that was saying in the beginning, I will not do this because I cannot. I'm so bad. I'm not able to do this. So the reaction was really, they were surprised. Also, the staff was very surprised. They told us afterwards, because we had staff all the time, and that they were a little bit lost because we had some plan, but basically we wanted to follow the kids. So they were lost. But then they said, we saw the aim of this, and this was really beautiful to really be able to meet them. So the reaction was surprisingly good, I think.
And so what I hear from this is that, like, what you did kind of was to create a bit of a common playground, like with a lot of freedom, like to participate or not, and also to try out new things or not, that these were things that worked somehow, no?
Yes, that was what we wanted to do, because, to heal, you need this inner space to be able to process things, to understand things, to see new perspectives. And that's something that we as clowns can bring in by play, by imagining, by taking roles, by changing roles. So, and it was very important to give them their efficacy, their agency, right?
Yeah. And the freedom to choose what they want to do, right? Because they don't have this so often in clinical settings as well.
Yes, and we were willing, the last thing, we were really willing to give the time for them to want. That was the point, because they don't know what they want or they don't want. So we propose, we offer, and we wait till they want to be part, they want to add something, and then this little motivation can lead them towards themselves, right?
No, it totally makes sense. Also they somehow know what they want or not want, but also they're trying to find out about it yet. So to provide the space, I think, is great. Yeah, and Dominique, like from your own experience and hearing about this, what would you think could change, like if clinical care, but also like prevention, promotion of mental health would like really not go separately with community-based efforts and arts and humor, but if they would converge into like one holistic approach? What do you think that could change?
A lot. That's one of the things I always try to encourage, like use bridges to the topic of mental health, because right now people are still a bit cautious when it comes to mental health. So you have to put something in front of mental health to make the entrance easier. It can be a cafe, it can be a sport, it can be art, it can be animals. Use music, use whatever way. And the more ways we have, the higher our chances that we find a way that we can get in touch, really in touch with a person. Not everybody likes dancing, but for some, dancing can be an important part of expressing themselves. So the more variety we bring in there, and the more really present it is at school or at various forms or places in society, the better the chances that we really create lasting change. And this is in the end what we always do. We do Lego serious play workshops with business people, and they're sitting there with their ties, and I put the Lego bricks in front of them, and suddenly they are able to talk about mental health. Without those little stones, it would not be possible. So it's not just for kids or youngsters. They do it even better with the Lego, but it also works for grown-ups. So yeah, making it playful, making it easier, and more ways towards mental health, bringing people in contact with their mental health, with the topic in general. It could be a huge impact that we have there.
Yeah, I love it. It really resonates with our experiences as well. I think it's this just door opener often, like that invites creativity and other forms of communication, and that creates these bridges. So yeah, I love to hear that. And in like I think we touched a lot of topics here, and what I take with me is really this also importance of talking about mental health, about being open to exchange on the topic, and to giving space for individuals, right? To present their perspective and vision, but also to choose what they want and when they want it. So I think that really stays with me. But before we close the panel, also like if you could leave our audiences with one more thought about like what is the one thing you have witnessed in your work with young people with mental health issues that you wish everyone could see or know? Yeah.
Anna, you go first.
Okay. Yeah, that's so difficult to choose one thing. But I think for me, the one thing would be take the time, like, and see how the time opens people and contact and connection. And that's something that is really important and great, because how to call it, I don't know, our mental health is dependent on the inner space that we create and the way that we process things. And I would be so happy if we all could, if we don't need any more diagnosis to be able to get what we need and be as we are. Because, you know, people say, okay, I have ADHD, so I need this and this and this, and I have hyperstimulation, so I have to take care of myself. But even if it's not named, why can't we say, okay, I need this, now I feel overwhelmed, so I will retreat for a moment. Or if we can accept, in everybody makes this space for yourself to accept who you are, then yeah, maybe that's it. It's I would love to like see adult people take this in and let themselves be who they are, not perfect, and the clown can help here very well. And then they can be the model for the young ones, that you don't have to be perfect. You just need to connect and be in contact, and we can regulate and fix things together, figure out together.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, and I think the clown also is very good at accepting who we are and the faults that we have. So I think that's very interesting. Yeah. How about you, Dominique?
So I would pick two things. On one hand, it's the gratitude. When I leave a class, and sometimes I really have all the pupils, 20, 30 pupils, lining up and just saying thank you. Because for the first time, they felt really taken seriously, they felt heard, they felt seen with all their questions on mental health. And then at the same time, seeing the clicks, the inspiration, the motivation, understanding. I'm not wrong for feeling or thinking this. A lot of people here in my class do. We just needed a door opener, and also hearing that it's not the end of your life if you might experience some form of mental illness. So really seeing the empowerment, the encouragement of, bringing mental health more into their everyday life, because now they've heard that it's there anyways, and they got some ideas. So really, the gratitude, it's really amazing if you just take time, a couple of minutes, to really listen to them. They are not used to that. So many are not really used to that. And at the same time, inspiring them, empowering them, encouraging them. That is something we can all do in our surroundings as well.
Yeah. To really be aware of what can change with little and just simple things like listening, I guess. Yeah, and seeing.
It's like magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the light in the eyes. Wow, I think this was very inspiring for me, and I hope also for the people watching and listening to us. Thank you so much, Dominique, and thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to watching and caring about this topic. And yeah, I hope you all have a great European Mental Health Week this year, and let's continue to talk about it. So I hope we'll continue the conversation very soon as well. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, and take care, and see you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.